Hey friends, welcome back to Thrive Online Healing Podcast. This is episode 93, and this week we're having a panel discussion. We have three of our star students from our New Beginnings program. Two of them were in the beta program. One of them has gone through the full program, but they just had amazing results. And I wanted to bring them on here to just share their experiences so you guys could have a different perspective other than Carmen and I talking about how much we love our program. So first we have Sara. Sara works at a bank and she just got a new promotion of AVP. And then Kara is a massage therapist. She has her own business. And then Terrell is a salesman. He works in sales with technology. I'll have to let you describe that more, Terrell. So these guys, I'm super proud of all of you. You guys have just did incredible results in a very short time period. I remember when I first met Terrell, I was talking about Sara, but I didn't use your name, Sara. I just used you as a client. And Terrell was like, we were in a networking event and he was just like, totally don't agree with you, lady. Life is a crock pot, not a microwave. There's no way that these people are getting results in this short of time. And then he comes in New Beginnings and just flourishes and proves himself wrong. So I'll let you guys introduce
stealing all my stories.
What?
You're stealing all my stories.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to quit talking. I'm going to let you guys, if you want to introduce yourselves anymore, I'll let you do that. And then I'll ask your first question. Kara, do you want to talk about your business?
Sure. So my name is Kara. I am a licensed massage therapist. I have been licensed since 2018, and I actually get to work from home, which is wonderful because I have 4 kids, and it gives me some just great flexibility. And I love being able to work from home. When we renovated our home, we specifically set aside one of the rooms to be a massage studio. So it's great. I absolutely love it. I live in a little teeny tiny town in Oklahoma, and I just have great clients and really, really enjoy being able to work from home and set my own schedule. And I've seen a lot of success with that. It's been great.
And Kara's she's my massage therapist, and she's amazing because y'all know I'm a CrossFitter, and us CrossFitters are kind of not the best clients because we're like, yeah, thanks for fixing me. I'm going back to redo everything you just did. Undo it.
Exactly. We get to start all over every time, but it's okay. It's good.
Yeah, I'm not quitting. Sara, you want to talk about you?
Sure. As you said, my name's Sara. I work at a local bank, and I guess in the time that I found Kim, or that we made introductions and then we did the beta program, my life has kind of done a complete change in regards to where I was and where I am now, and I'm just excited to talk about the program.
Yeah, Sara was already into coaching. Like her and I found each other. We live by our towns are right by each other. But she already knew about Brooke and all of my favorite coaches before we met. And I posted something on our local Facebook page about printing this workbook. And Sara reached out to me. She's like, what workbook is that? And so then we kind of we met and had coffee and nerded out, and then just kind of maintained a relationship. And I kind of begged her to come into New Beginnings beta.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah. Terrell, tell us about you.
So I am a salesman for an IT company in Oklahoma City. The company I work for has been around for about 30 years, but they let their sales go completely flat. They had not done anything for 5 or 6 years. They brought me in to change that. Literally gave me a blank sheet of paper, and the owner walked out and said, I'm leaving town. I'll see you later. Have fun. Do well. And so I was kind of lost, was looking for just some guidance, a little bit of, I just dropped the word, a little bit of
tough love.
Tough love. There's a word, and I just completely dropped it. When you are held accountability.
Yeah.
And I needed that. I was searching for some coaches. I kind of knew what I needed, and had talked to some coaches, and it just wasn't right. And then Kimberly's already mentioned my crock pot and microwave. that I kind of challenged her with that when we first met, and I'm like, okay, this is going to work. This is what I need. And I'm assuming as we go through this, I'll have an opportunity to tell that story in more detail.
Yep. Cool. So can you guys talk about like where you were before you came into the New Beginnings program? Like kind of like what drew you to the New Beginnings program, like what your business or where, like where you were, because then we're going to go into like where you are now. Does that make sense? Cool.
I'm happy to go first. This is Sara. I will say prior to joining the New Beginnings program, historically, I have been highly motivated, get it done kind of person, run marathons, like try to be the top of my class at everything, best at work. Like I'm just kind of that typical overachiever. And then I'll say the pandemic came in and like rocked my world, stay at home, work from home, less activity. And I found myself at the point that I met you with the New Beginnings, where physically I knew something was off. Like I didn't feel like myself, but then mentally also, I had just felt like I'd been taking a beating for 2 years. Just kind of lost. Like when they called us back to the office, I think I spent 6 months in my office in a dark little corner, just like, woe is me, life is horrible. I always joke with Kim, like, I just want to go replay our initial first coaching call, because who I was then and who I am now is just like dark and light, like total different. But what really intrigued me about the New Beginnings program was that they were coupling this hormone and this hormone panel and this, actual data that we could get on my physical state with the mind work. And having been introduced to mind work and understanding coaching from that perspective, I knew that was like the key to helping me get the results, because I've done just the coaching itself, but then having that information to put with it and actually see where I was at, like made all the difference for me.
Thanks, Sara.
So this is Kara, and I was actually a little bit opposite of Sara. So as I mentioned, I have 4 children, and my body went through a lot of hormonal changes during those pregnancies and things and postpartum. And I had done some work in the past with just my regular allopathic doctor about some hormone issues I was having and some exhaustion and things. And it helped a little bit, but I felt like we weren't really getting to the root of the issue. And I was just facing some health challenges and major exhaustion and some things that I knew were not being addressed. And I've already told Kim this, so I'm just going to be very, very honest. I really was not interested in the coaching at all. I kind of had this mindset of I'm doing fine. Like my parenting is fine. My business is fine. Yes, we can always all do better, but I know the things to do. I don't need coaching, but man, my health sure needs like to be back on track. So I actually joined the program more for the hormone panel. And I just told Kim straight up, like, yeah, thanks for the coaching. I'll kind of check it out, whatever, but I'm really here for the hormone panel. And I was very honest with her from the very beginning. And I was blown away with how wonderful the coaching was and how much so many aspects of my life changed from the coaching that was totally unexpected. My business has grown so much, and that was not at all my goal from doing this program. I just wanted to be less tired and less exhausted and kind of find out ways to supplement my body to address the exhaustion. And I came away with just, a more striving business and things that I never even thought would be affected by this program. So I definitely went in with the mindset of I'm really, really exhausted, facing some health issues. I want to do this hormone panel to get to the root of it and see what supplements I can take and how I can support my body. And the coaching part and the mental health part was kind of okay, that's just a little bonus, whatever. And turned out that I really needed both, and I really had no idea.
She was right. And she was so sweet about it. She's like, yeah, I just really want to support you, but I really just want to do the panel. Well, I was like, great, we're doing both. Terrell, what about you?
So I came into this as a major perfectionist. I put a lot of pressure on myself. I I've always told myself that I should be better, smarter, more creative, whatever, than anybody else, and had a ton of pressure on myself to do that. And then when I couldn't do that or wasn't that person or whatever, saw myself as a failure, and would not do things because I didn't want to fail, because the what I saw as success, being such a perfectionist, was so far out there, so far unattainable, that there's no way I could ever meet it. So I was creating this whole cycle within myself that I was going to fail. And in doing that, I wouldn't do anything. And then I come into this job where I mentioned that there's no accountability. There's no, if I want to come in and work today, great, I come in and work today. If I don't want to come into work today, whatever, nobody really cares that much. So I was getting into where I wasn't doing the things that I knew that I needed to be doing. And I needed some guidance. I needed a little push. I needed a kick in the butt is what I needed. And after we started, and like I said, I kind of knew what I was looking for, and I challenged Kimberly a little bit. She passed that test very, very well. And was shocked and surprised by how many other things. I was just looking at it as a business thing. I wanted to grow my business. I wanted to get help with my business. And we've gotten into some life things and some other aspects of my world that I didn't realize tied together. I've always tried to keep them separate. This is this world, this is this world. They don't collide. And now it's like, holy crap, they do collide, and they're impacting each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. So how did the panel, like getting the results back from your guys' panel, like how did that impact you? Or like, was it helpful? Did it do you think the panel is valuable? How was it valuable?
So I just got my panel back middle of last week or so, and it's been pretty recent. The vitamins and things that we've talked about, I don't have yet. They should be coming in today or tomorrow. So as far as seeing results from that, I don't really have that yet. However, it does make a lot of sense to me. It already, some of the dietary things we've discussed, I've already started implementing, and it has started helping me feel better. And, it just, I can feel my life just kind of perked up a little bit.
Yeah. Do you think the information from it, was that helpful for you?
The information was very helpful. Yes. And good to know how things tied together, how being low in this particular area causes you. I was having sleep problems. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and not be able to go back to sleep. Well, knowing how that flows, and that if your diet and all this stuff isn't quite right, then what I'm expecting is that those sleep problems will either go away completely or at least be minimized.
Yeah.
And I think that, as the saying goes, knowledge is power. And I think just being aware of some of those chemical issues going on in our bodies is very empowering, because not only does it help give an explanation for what's going on, it's not an excuse at all for being, whenever my hormones were off, if I was being tired or snippy with my kids, it's not an excuse by any means, but understanding what's going on chemically in my body is very helpful. And it's also very empowering because I have something very tangible to do to address it. Mm-hmm. So I felt like the panel and the whole process of, the call with Dr. Carmen and just being able to kind of discuss all the findings. It wasn't just like a list thrown at you of, well, here are your issues, good luck, but it was, okay, you're low in this, which means this, or you are high in this, which could lead to this. And that was very, just very enlightening to kind of see where my levels were off. It was much more in depth than I'd ever done with my allopathic doctor. And to see that was, okay, it kind of makes sense. I'm not crazy. There actually is something going on. And here are steps X, Y, and Z that I can take to address it. So it wasn't just, well, I'm doomed now because these levels are off, but it was, here are some things you can do to correct that and see some improvements. So I felt like it was, it's just very empowering to know what's going on with your body. And a lot of times in Western medicine, we kind of slap a Band-Aid on things or say, oh, something is wrong, you're having sleep issues or whatever. Well, here's the medicine for it. And instead, we can actually address the root of the problem. And like Terrell mentioned, we can address dietary things or, supplementation and things that support us and actually fix what's going on at the root instead of just, slapping a Band-Aid on it and moving on. Mm-hmm. So I just found the whole thing very empowering to kind of know what's going on within my body and also how I can best support it.
Yeah. To echo what Terrell and Kara had both said, it was very empowering and very enlightening for me to receive the hormone panel information and realize that while I thought I was doing what was best for myself, taking the medicines I was prescribed and trying to adjust my diet almost basically based upon what I thought was right. Like I was, trying to restrict calories here or, remove this item from what I would eat. What I realized was I was doing more harm than good to my body and not fueling myself properly. And then therefore it was impacting my hormones. And it was just like this chain reaction that Carmen could show me the chain of like, you're not getting this, and this is what's happening. And then give me suggestions of what I could try, what I could dietary wise, supplements, things of that nature to take. And I don't want to say instantly, but it felt like instantly. As soon as I started just implementing a few things that she suggested to help, I had my energy back. I could think clearly, like the brain fog started to go away. And it was like, I was like, here I am. Okay, that's what I was missing. And I was being so hard on myself before because everything I was trying, while I thought I was trying, even harder or doing something to like, well, this time it has to work. I'm just not being strict enough on myself. It was really not that at all. I was doing more harm than good. Like layering those things and getting to that root cause has made a huge difference for me.
Okay, so then we're going to, so we separated out the panel. Now we're going to talk about like the coaching part of it. Like how did that, what was your experience with that?
Well, I can speak to that. And like I already said, I was probably the most skeptical client Kim has ever had. I, told her thanks, but no thanks with the coaching. And she said, well, it's a package deal, so you're stuck with me. And of course, after going through several sessions, I said, okay, you were right. Thank you for forcing me to do this. I honestly had no idea what coaching was all about. I'm again, Kim, I'm going to be very honest. I hope that's okay with you. I assumed that a life coach was like a glorified cheerleader who would kind of be behind you saying, rah, rah, you're doing great, keep it up. And that is a very, very small part, I think, of what coaches do is, encourage you and cheer you on. But I had no idea what Kim was going to put me through. At one point during one of our sessions, I kind of looked at her and I said, what were my exact words, Kim? I can't remember if I said, sometimes I just really despise you. And at the same time, I just love you because she makes me do hard things. And I feel like Kim saw something in me that I did not see in myself. And rather than just sit there and tell me, rah, rah, you're great, you can do this, she kind of led me on this journey where I had to discover these things for myself. And I wasn't really ready to do it. And I was very resistant to it. Like I said, I thought I was fine. I didn't need 8,000 new clients in my business. That wasn't what I was doing. I just wanted my hormones supported. And Kim saw something in me with my business and my personal life that I was not reaching my full potential, but I was okay with that. I wasn't here for any of that. And instead of forcing me to it or just kind of, blasé, just cheering me along, she actually led me on this whole path of realizing, why would I not be striving to be my best? And so the coaching really kind of blew me away. I was not at all expecting it. And I was very reluctant to do it. Had a hard time kind of prioritizing the calls and getting it scheduled in. But I was really glad that Kim ended up pushing me to do it, because it definitely did lead me to discover things about myself that I was not even aware were floating around in there. And Kim had a way of just kind of bringing it to the surface against my will, but by having me do it, she would ask me questions and things that wouldn't give me the answers. And that really frustrated me, because I would think, well, if you want to know this about me, you just tell me since you see it. And instead, she kind of forced me to dig deep. So it was very much out of my comfort zone at the beginning. But by the end, I really looked forward to the calls and to the material and information, and kind of was excited to see, okay, what am I going to be pushed to discover this time? So I actually ended up really looking forward to it, but it was terrifying at first. And it's hard work. It's definitely not, you just show up and, Kim says, oh, I'm going to give you some affirmations and you're going to, you're so powerful and strong, and move on. It definitely is not easy. It's hard work. But I've definitely grown to appreciate it. And just, I really appreciated her insight and just her, I guess, Kim, your just tenacity to stay after me and make me see the things that you knew that I really did need to see.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Well, I want you to brag on yourself. I want to brag on you, but I felt like I knew where you wanted to take your business. We weren't quite, I don't think we were on the same page. You were like, yeah, my business is great. And I'm like, but I know where we can go. And to see that process within 6 weeks, your business over doubled, didn't it, in 6 weeks?
I think it did, of regular clients, clients who come monthly versus just once or twice a year.
Yeah.
It was just every week I'd be like, Kim, I had 7 new people just call me completely out of the blue, just word of mouth. I didn't do any advertising or anything. And it was every week there were just more and more and more people, just referrals started going out, and it was kind of crazy how things just exploded. And I was just kind of blown away. It was kind of a fun game that every week Kim would be like, how many new clients do you have this week? And it was always, I was always giving her a number because it just continued to grow.
Yeah, because you set a goal of 20 by December, and you had blown that out of the water before we even hit November, right?
Yes, I think it was the end of October when I hit that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which kind of screwed me, because before I had priority and I could get in whenever I want. Now it's oh, you're on the wait list.
I know.
But I'm so happy and I'm proud of you. I'm so happy because I know this is a big deal for your family, especially your husband's gone through, and this is a blessing for your family.
Absolutely. Yeah. My husband has kind of had some transition with his career, and it's been wonderful to kind of be able to up my income through growing my business to kind of cover that transition. It's just been, which was an unexpected, thing that we're going through with his job. It just was a really big blessing to be able to kind of fill in that gap. And it's just been great.
Yeah. Good. I'm so proud of you, Kara.
So I'll jump in. I was looking for a coach. I knew that I needed some help, and the hormone panel was, I'm kind of opposite of everybody else. The hormone panel was an added bonus, but I was looking for the accountability. I was looking for somebody just to be that cheerleader, like what Kara said. I just needed somebody to come in and check in with and say, did you do these 3 tasks this week? Okay, good job. You're so good. That's awesome. And that's not at all what it was. It was much more of a challenge than that. And we've kind of alluded to this. I'll go ahead and finish telling the story. Because I was on that search, I was looking for a coach. Kimberly came to a networking event and starts talking about one of her clients that had a goal, and just within 2 or 3 weeks went in and just, she did this, and all of a sudden, boom, there, that goal was met. I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. That's not. And my belief was life is a crock pot, not a microwave, meaning things take time, especially anything of real value, anything that's true is going to take time to build. You're not just going to go 2 weeks into a coaching session and boom, there you go, something new happens. It's not going to happen. So, and I don't even know what your answer was. I don't know how you responded to that, but
I think I was like, oh, okay, that's just your thoughts.
Yeah. However you responded, it was good. And I started with this.
Mhm.
So we go 3 or 4 weeks, and I should back up a little bit more too. With my job, I had been running in quicksand. I couldn't get any traction. I couldn't get any new customers. The company had not had a new customer in 6 or 7 years. They'd just been living off the fat of the land. And I'm working and working, and I feel like I'm doing what's right, and it's just not producing anything. So we were 4 or 5 weeks into it, something like that. And I had a customer that I needed to follow up with, and I just didn't want to do it. Again, the perfectionism thing. I didn't know what to write. I want to make sure it's just a quick follow-up email, but I want to make sure it's perfect. And all I could hear in the back of my head is Kim saying, just do it. It's just sit down and do it. I did that, sent that email about 10 o'clock that morning. 11:30, I had a response that said, what happens if we sign this contract today? We went through those negotiations. By about 4 o'clock, I had that contract signed. It was the biggest contract that I had been working on. And obviously the biggest contract that the company had had in 6 or 7 years. And it literally was because Kimberly had said, life is a microwave. You don't have to let things drag out. I found out later from that customer that they were having problems with their other IT company. The lady was pissed at them. They had screwed something up. They were having a bad day that day. If I would have waited until the next day or Wednesday or whatever, if I would have waited 2 or 3 days, that contract probably would have continued to drag on for several weeks. But by just following along, just by letting B- work be okay and sending that email, we move forward. So that I'm definitely a believer. Lots of personal things. I can go into different things just in my personal life with my marriage that I was not expecting at all, but realizing that things that my wife and I have been arguing about for 30 years, it's really not that big a deal, and probably mostly my responsibility. So if I take responsibility for that and do what I need to do, life is much better.
That's awesome. I'm sure your wife is appreciative. Like, yes, Terrell, just keep going to coaching. This is amazing for me.
There were a lot of what we would fight about, and not fights. We've been married for 30 years, and it's not, fight is a terrible word, but I would want to do things, and in trying to get those done, I would try to manipulate that to be her idea. Well, it's not really her deal. It's not something that she would want to do. She's never going to come up with that and say, yes, I would like. Look, it just was a matter of saying, hey, listen, this is important to me. I want to do this. Would you do this with me? Mm-hmm. And she's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then we would do it. And when we're done, I made sure and say, listen, thank you. That was very important to me. I really appreciate your participation. And since then, those conversations have been much easier. That whole thing, every bit of that has been better. I don't have to worry and struggle and manipulate. And you just go through and say, hey, listen, this is important to me. Can we do this?
Yeah. And I want to clarify for our listeners, right? Like, I've coached Terrell long enough. Like, Terrell is not a manipulative person. So when you guys hear that, I don't want you to take that and be like, oh, well, he was manipulative. He is like all the rest of you. People pleasing is manipulation, right? He was just trying to people please to get his way, which 99% of humanity does. But that is manipulation, and it creates this negative cycle that just never really makes anybody happy or get what they want. So I just want to clarify that with people.
I've had many of the same revelations that Terrell has had, and I'm just nodding like, yes, yes, yes. Hearing him speak about it's him giving me the tools to learn that I have to speak up for myself. I have to be clear about my intentions and what I'm after. Where Kim came in and helped me greatly is, like I said before, I've always been a high achiever and goal oriented. And so working within my career, I felt like I had done all the steps, but I was sitting in the corner waiting for someone to come and like bestow upon me my title and my promotion and crown me as what I knew that I was worthy of, but I would never say it out loud. I thought I just needed to do the work and it would come eventually. In that crock pot of life, I was going to be the real long cooker, right? It was going to take forever. And within a few weeks of working with Kim, everything just came to. It was just her telling me, like, you just need to say what you want. It's right there. Like, just speak up for yourself. You know, you're worthy, like, believe in yourself. And simply by believing what Kim was saying to me and believing in myself and just like taking the chance. And I mean, it was super scary to put myself out there, but just doing it in one little circumstance, like just lit the fire of like chain reaction of, okay, then this changed and then this changed. And like Terrell had said, like, you come in, like initially I came to Kim for things to help me within my career. Well, now it's in my personal life, in my home life, my kids, my husband, like it can't help but to carry over to all the other parts of your life, because I think it's easier to work on like finding confidence and standing up for yourself with your coworkers, maybe because it's outside. I mean, that's less scary than working with your people that you're intimate with, your family. So once you've kind of tackled that, it's like, okay, there's another thing you can work on is really being honest with the people you love and being yourself fully, and just stepping into that. And so Kim is like my number one, I'm going to say cheerleader, but also like, I love that she pushes me so hard. I mean, we have such an interesting relationship because I love for her to just like challenge me, like, go ahead, say it, like, tell me what I need to hear, because that's what I'm here for, is to be pushed and to feel uncomfortable. I think I leave every coaching session like with that like pit of my stomach. I just feel like, oh, and I know that's where I want to get to, because that's where the growth is. Like, get to that point where I have to see it clearly and then work through it. So I just love it. It's like priceless to me to work with you all and do this program.
I love it because I remember our first session, like you were literally in the corner office. There was like all the lights in the whole like floor were off. It was somewhat dark. Like,
just sad.
Literally stuck in the dark corner office. Like, I've been doing this for like 15 years and I feel like I should like.
I feel like I should have an office with a window and like maybe a title. Like maybe they'll just give me like the lowest title. I mean, my goals were so small. I was like, Kim, I just a little bit. If they would give me anything, I'd work for another like 20 years happily, like just whatever. And then you just push me to like challenge that and go see why I can't, or why, just go ask the right people, be outspoken. And within a matter of literal weeks, it was like, okay, everything you wanted was right here. You just had to speak up.
Yeah.
And I just think how many people are sitting aside and just because they're not letting it be known. And I mean, it was hard on me mental health wise to come in every day and know that I was destined for more. And now like my work-life balance is so much better. My work happiness is so much better. I feel like I'm thriving and accomplishing things, where before I was just like, oh, I'll just come in and put in my hours and I don't really care. And I mean, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, and I want you to brag on yourself too, Sarah. It's not like you just got like a promotion and they were like, here's $5,000 and an office with a window now. Like you literally became an AVP.
Yeah, I did. I went from I was just like, give me an officer title. I would just be happy with an officer title. And they're like, how about AVP officer? Here's your office with your window. Here's a lot of responsibilities. And I'm like, yes, this is what I want. I want more of it. Like I was so excited. And it was probably there for a long time. It was just me not believing in myself and stepping into it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
And Sarah's really fun to coach because we're very different. Like Sarah has this very like, you're a 2, Enneagram 2,
Mm-hmm.
very loving and compassionate to people. And I'm the Enneagram 8. It's like, let's go get some shit done. I don't care about their feelings. It's fun to coach you because I'm like, oh, I don't know how to say this in a 2's language. I only know how to say it in 8's language, which is just get your shit done. And you're like,
I love that.
You're like, bring it, sister. I can handle it.
Well, because I think a lot of people on the outside, they see me as that too. And so they treat me that way, right? They want to like coddle me. And I'm like, really, that's the last thing I need. Like, please don't coddle me. Please give it to me straight. I take it better. Like I'm going to have to work through it because my brain is going to like go off, but just give me the truth, give it to me straight, and then let me deal with it.
Yeah. You're so fun to coach. I love it. Yeah.
So Kimberly, let me jump in one real quick one. I was thinking about that last night too. I have not had a lot of people tell me no before, or be real direct. Everything that I've done has just been kind of like, oh yeah, you're the best, you're the whatever it is. And then you come in here and Kimberly's like, no, that's not right. You need to change your thinking on that, or you need to look at it from this direction. So it is very good that it's so direct and challenging.
Yeah. And you're very direct too.
Well,
which, being an Enneagram 8, like people tend to be intimidated by me, right? So they don't really like to bring the truth up in here because they're afraid of like what's going to come. And so you're one of the first few people who are like, I hate the way you start your videos. Which was awesome. Like, oh, finally, someone's like willing to like come toe to toe with me. All right. Oh, what else? Did anything else you guys have? Carmen, do you have any questions for him?
I don't think so. I just, wanted to reiterate, thank you guys for sharing your story with us today. But it's valuable for me to see, like how you guys take and interpret the labs, and just to emphasize that piece that our labs are a picture in time. Right. So you guys are, through your programs, have seen what those values were, right? How they were affecting you mentally, and doing the thought work and understanding, like the change in your belief systems and how that directly affects your physical health, as well as the neurochemicals in your body and in your brain. And that you guys have direct influence on that. And I love hearing your stories that you're sharing with us firsthand on how that's playing out in your life, through coaching. And you're influencing know that you're influencing your labs. So if we were to retest, you would get to see the changes of how things have improved with the dietary change, with the supplements, but also just changing that belief pattern and doing that thought work.
Do you guys feel like your health, I mean, Terrell, I know this doesn't quite apply to you yet, but like Kara and Sarah, like both of you are pretty like several months out from your panel and thought work, right? Like, have you guys experienced a difference in your health? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, I have for sure. Before I was really having trouble sleeping, and like I mentioned, just extreme fatigue. And, whenever you're a wife and a parent and a massage therapist, you can't be fatigued. It's a you have a lot to do. You know, I had a lot to get done, which I think is a part of why I'm like, I don't need new clients. I can't handle it physically. You know, I just, I was physically having trouble, getting through the clients that I had just because of the sheer exhaustion. And it was like, if I gave my all to my clients, I had nothing left for my kids. If I gave all to my kids, I had nothing left for my husband. It just like had to pick one each day. And I feel like the combination of kind of getting my health back on track, and a lot of it was dietary, honestly. And then the supplementation, you know, has helped a lot. And then the sleep, getting the sleep support, the suggestions from Dr. Carmen for sleep support that's been the game changer for me. And actually was really great because I was able to share my results with my husband. So he kind of was my accountability partner to keep me on track and encourage me to, you know, order these supplements, do the things that you need to do, whatever it takes. You know, we're in this together to kind of get things balanced back for you. So getting kind of my sleep back on track was huge. And I feel like I definitely needed both the coaching and the health panel, which I've never seen before packaged together into one program. It definitely took both of those because it was like they were on the same trajectory, that as my health got better, my business was growing. So, you know, as Dr. Carmen helped me get my health back on track, Kim was pushing my business to grow. And if I hadn't had both of those, it would have been completely unsustainable because I mean, my health would have been better, but I would not have been driven to grow my business. And if Kim had been helping me grow my business, but I was not addressing my health, I physically could not have done it.
Yeah.
And now I feel like, you know, I can, like it is sustainable. And now I no longer feel like I have to choose between my job and my family and, you know, running my house. I feel like I have energy to do it all. And it's still not perfect. You know, I still am working because it does take time. It's not something that's going to be fixed overnight. It's not a Band-Aid. It is digging into the root and making adjustments as needed. But I do feel like the knowledge that I was given kind of helps me tweak and say, okay, I think that I need to adjust this just a little bit or adjust this just a little bit. Let's see if we can get even better. So it is definitely a process that I'm still going through. I think it's not perfect yet, but I'm definitely to the point where I'm functioning now in all roles of my life and able to, you know, balance those so much better than I was before.
I know the panel really helped me recognize that I had to make my physical health like my number one priority at that point in time and get myself in a good position to work on my mental health and work through the coaching. I was so exhausted. I was not fueling my body properly. I wasn't taking any supplements that I actually needed. And just kind of realizing that if I wasn't going to take care of myself physically, that none of the other things mattered. So making priority of my physical health and seeing those numbers on the panel and getting that confirmation that what you're doing is not working. What I was doing, what I thought was working was not working, and kind of taking a moment to step back and take care of myself first was super empowering for me. Because as soon as I started to see those improvements and start to feel better, it's actually pretty motivating to continue to look, as Kara said, to like adjust and make adjustments and really tune into yourself and listen to what you need and trust yourself to listen to your body. I guess that's another part of it, because I think we're just inundated with information telling us we can't trust our bodies and we can't trust how we think of ourselves. And really none of that matters. It's if you have a good relationship with yourself, then you know what you need and you can trust that you'll make the right adjustments to get you feeling good.
Yeah. And you're an athlete, so that's super important. Like you're a marathon runner, you know, like you're a runner. And so to be able to age as an athlete and still be able to do the things that we love and maintain all the other things is like super important, I'm sure, to you. I mean, it is to me. And to like help your body move to a place of physical and emotional and mental health so you can have this quality of life and do the things you want.
Right. It's a balance to keep all of the mental and physical and emotional working correctly. And as I've aged, I've realized that those all have to work hand in hand. You can't neglect one for the other, because you pay the price in the long run. And I think that's kind of where I've ended up, is realizing that I can't ignore my physical health or put a Band-Aid on it. It only works for so long until it impacts other parts. So not fueling myself properly and taking care of myself as I should have, I think led into the hormone imbalances and the things that I was seeing on my panel. And I could connect the dots there and see what I thought I was doing at the time for bettering myself was actually hurting myself.
Yeah. And I think it helps to validate, from my experience of taking the panel, like it validated, like, okay, this is why I'm feeling these emotions, like this anxiety, like this buzzing of anxiety all the time, or like why my moods are always swinging, right? Like, oh, this isn't me, I'm not broken, right? Like,
right.
This is just a chemical thing that's going on that has either, whatever choices or whatever mindset I had created this perfect storm that I'm currently in. But just to validate, like, like I am not broken, and this is all fixable.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anything else, you guys?
So very briefly, I think anybody that is looking at maybe going through this program, we've all touched on it. We've all said this in different ways, but they need to be ready for the challenge. They need to be able to open their minds and be able to accept what's about to happen, because it is challenging, and you are going to touch on some things that you didn't think. I didn't think this tied to this, but now I realize how they do. And and I really do need to put some thought work, some mind work. I need to spend a little bit of time actively participating in this and be willing to be challenged, and it'll be successful. It'll work. It'll work great. I would imagine that, and I'm just guessing, Kimberly, but I would imagine that people that are not successful or don't participate, pull back, and they're like, no, you're wrong, and then stop there. Where I know for myself, I've taken them like, no, I don't know that I actually believe that, but when we're done with our session, then I go back and think, and I start looking back through my life at different areas, and like, well, yeah, that's exactly how that played out. That's exactly what that was, and really actively participate and work at it.
I think in my experience that people that aren't ready to do the work, they don't even sign up. Like they just kind of opt out themselves, right? Because probably just my personality, it's like, you're coming to do the work, right? Like we're gonna do the work because like I'm all in it, right? I believe in every one of my clients. I believe in all of you. I see your potential. I know that you're here and where you can be. And I just feel like I would do a disservice if I didn't journey with you and push you to get you to where, like, your dreams are important. They're the most important thing, right? And like, I fail you as a coach if I don't help you get to that dream, right? But it is fun, right? Like, we don't want to make people think like, oh, this is just hard work and I'm gonna be miserable.
I loved hearing Kara say that she hated you and loved you, because how many times when you and I are in our session have I said, I hate you and I love you for it?
Yes, every session. Every session.
It's a good thing that Kim has a thick skin, right? That we can just tell it to her like it is.
Well, I love it that you guys are so amazing with me too, because like, right, I'm an 8. And I remember the first time, like my brain, I was coaching Terrell, and like I could not come up with another analogy. Like there was this one analogy and I couldn't come up with another one. And I was like, well, I want to say this. He's like, just say it. And I was like, you realize you're cock blocking yourself, right? And like he didn't even blink his eyes. He was just like, I see that. I was like, oh, these are my people. They just kind of get me. Like, don't get offended. They're like, yep, noted, see that, moving on.
I think one of the things that surprised me most about the whole program was kind of a takeaway was my increase in my confidence in myself as a business owner, as a massage therapist, as a wife and mom, all these roles that I fill. And I didn't know that I was lacking confidence. I don't say that to be arrogant, but it's not like I went around all the time thinking that I just wasn't confident in myself. I thought I was pretty confident in myself and that I kind of had, I was checking all the boxes. And I think that the combination of Kim's tough love telling me things or leading me to discover things for myself that I maybe didn't know I needed. And then the removal of the brain fog, because I felt like it was kind of like going through the hormone panel and making these adjustments. I felt like I was coming above water for the first time in months. And I didn't realize it when I was in it, but afterwards, and I, as I'm still working to get my hormones balanced and my neurotransmitters where they need to be and all that, I realize it's like coming above water and realizing, oh, I have just been surviving. Like I have just been popping up every now and then for a breath and then going right back under. And I didn't realize that. But I've noticed it in my confidence in being a friend, in being, everyone's sick right now. And I feel like I am much better about reaching out to other people and checking in on everybody when, one of my kids' teammates misses a practice. Oh, let's check in and see how they're doing. Things that wouldn't have occurred to me necessarily before because I was just in survival mode. So I feel like, I'm a better friend, better wife and mom. And then on the business side, the confidence that I've achieved kind of blew me away, even things like with my pricing, because I've always prided myself, and I still do. I think that massage should be accessible to everybody. So I try to keep my prices very low. Like I said, I work from home, so thankfully my overhead is very low. And I just think that I really do believe that massage should be accessible for everybody. And it can be very expensive. And I know that, and I know why, because it's hard work. And I still want to keep my prices that are accessible to everybody, but I feel like I no longer apologize for my prices. I felt like I used to have to say, well, let's see what we can do and work with people, or, only come this often, instead of saying, you really need to come back again in 2 weeks because this issue is going to keep coming back if we don't continue to address it. And feeling like, well, but I don't know if like my service is worth that. My service is worth that. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's confidence in that I didn't really have before and didn't know that I was missing. And I think it was a combination of just kind of that like brain fog, not being able to think clearly, and then also just kind of not knowing my value and my worth. And so I think that that's kind of been something that surprised me, but that I'm very thankful to see that as a result of this program.
And as a client, I have to tell you, and I know we just experienced this, but like I've been going to you for almost a year now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And I loved the fact that you sent me the text message that you did recently. Yeah. Like, here's what's going on. Like, this is not, you're the expert, right? Not me. I just know, like, I want my body to work the way I want because I want to go do the things I want. And you were like, look, here's the plan. Here's what we need to do over the next 5 weeks, 6 weeks to get you where you need to be. And I loved that you just took care of me. You took charge. You were like, this is what you need to get your body back to where we need to go. Instead of just being like, well, we'll just see you next month.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like as your client, that I just so appreciated that so much because I trust you. You're the expert. You know what my body needs. You know where I want to be. So I think that's a huge asset that your clients as a client are going to benefit from. It's just this level of confidence and like standing in, you're like, this is what you need to get to where you need to go. So
it's confidence and it's honesty. Because I have another client who wanted to sign up for a series that I have to address a specific issue. And after meeting with her once, I said, look, you don't need this. Like, this is not what you need. And so she was saying, well, can I still come for this series? And I said, no, it's not what you need. Just come in for a massage and we'll see you again next month. Like it's not about, tricking people into coming more often. It's very much just honesty and having that confidence of this is what you need. This is what your body needs. And I'm not going to upsell you. I'm not going to say you have to come back more often than you need to. I'm going to be frank with you, but this is what your body needs. And so it kind of goes both ways. And I think people see when that's genuine, and when I have the confidence to come across as, this is what you need. And I'm sure that Terrell feels that too, as selling something. You want to sell the company something that they actually need and that will be beneficial to them. It's not about just making this sale. You want to help somebody. And I think coming across with that confidence makes all the difference in the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. Yeah. I mean, because you could just be like, okay, Kim, we have an agreement that you do monthly, right? And like in the back of my mind, I knew like, yeah, but I think I'm just going to keep fighting this. And I think I'm going to get injured. And I think that I'm not going to do well in my competition. And you were willing to be like, no, this is what we need to do. Because yeah. So I appreciate that as your client. Sarah, do you have anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Cool. Guys, thank you so much for coming on and just being willing to be honest and share your honest stories, that because I want people to have an honest perspective of like what they can expect, right? And what like the benefits. And I know also I really wanted to do this episode to brag on you guys. I'm like so proud of each one of you. Like you came in, even though some of you were resistant, like you did the work and you achieved the things that you wanted, and not all humans do that. So I want you guys to know, like, I'm very proud of each one of you and all the amazing results that you have each created. And I know that it took work to get there and that you just kept showing up and doing it. I hope that you are as proud of you. I hope that you are as proud of yourselves as I am as proud of you, because I'm super just impressed with you guys and very, very proud of you and the work that you have all done.
I appreciate that, but I also want you to know by achieving those results, it just makes me want to do more. So that's why I'm just like, I just want to keep coming back, because it just proved to me that I'm capable and worthy of more. And then working with you, that check-in I need weekly to help me work toward the continued growing version of myself, not better, because I'm just as great as I am right now.
Yeah, just stepping more into you.
Totally agree with what she just said. There's so much more out there.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm excited. Sarah and I have Sarah doesn't like to dream much. And I'm like, what are we dreaming about? Hawaii, a pool in Hawaii, right?
Working on it.
So, and I went to Terrell's house for his housewarming party. And he was like, we want a pool. I'm like, oh, let's do an invisible pool. You know, those ones that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like a hot tub as a pool like runs over into. Because there's just so much fun to dream with you guys, right? Cool. Well, thank you guys for spending your time with us today. We really appreciate all of you. Anything else?
I just thank you both so much for the program, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you, Kara.
Thank you.